I am Mike Flynn. I'm the safety manager for Granite Construction Company, and we are based here in Tucson, but work all over Arizona and New Mexico. One of our main forms of work is rebuilding roads and highways, streets and bridges, so we are involved in traffic pretty much every day we're out working, whether it's reconstructing a road or building a new one. And in doing so, we work with a lot of traffic control devices, rerouting traffic, dealing with flagging operations, trying to get the public through the workspaces however best we can. I work for Granite Construction, and they're a phenomenal employer, but they also allow me to work in the community. I am also the president of Friends and Families of Roadway Workers, which is a citizens committee that is really designed to spread awareness for the safety of workers in work zones, and we do a lot with that. I also work with some construction organizations, the Associated General Contractors, the Arizona Rock Products Association, on their safety committees. So we help our community through those efforts as well, dealing with other contractors. DPS is going to enforce any Arizona highway, but really it's whatever municipality that you're working in. If you're on a City of Tucson streets, then it will be the Tucson Police Department. If it's Scottsdale Street, it'd be the City of Scottsdale, Pima County, Maricopa County. So whatever entity that your project is in, that's who's going to do the law enforcement for that area. And Arizona has a doubling of fines laws that DPS focuses on. Pima County has an additional $250 fine for speeding in work zones. A lot of municipalities have a doubling of fine for any violation in a work zone. So it depends upon where you are as to what the fines may be, but the enforcement is really home-based. That's an interesting question. The real answer is they do and they don't. When a work zone is newly set up and initially put in, almost all drivers are very good about obeying the speed limit, and a lot of that is because they're not sure what's ahead. But as time goes by and they get used to that work zone, then typically the speeds will start to pick up. In as little as 3 weeks, actually, you'll see the speeds start to rise. So they feel very comfortable where they are, everything looks familiar again, and they start to go faster. And unfortunately, what they don't understand is that that work zone can change day by day and sometimes hour by hour. So definitely speeding is a huge problem. Not everybody does it. There are some people who will obey that speed limit the whole way through, and we're very thankful for that. But then you have the impatient person behind them, and that can cause a whole other series of problems. Violation-wise, what we see is people not wanting to pay attention to the traffic control devices. They try and drive in between the barricades or around them, and sometimes it's almost as if they think they're an inconvenience. They don't understand that the danger they may be putting themselves in, or certainly the worker in that work zone. If we have a flagger operation out, that flagger is holding a stop sign. That's a very real stop sign, and you can be cited for driving past that flagger. They make illegal lane changes. Pretty much anything they do on a normal road, they'll do in a work zone, and the violations are no different. And on top of that, they do other things. It's not illegal to drive while talking on a cell phone, but certainly in a work zone of all places where there are a lot of things happening, that's one of the last places you want to be using your cell phone. But we see everything. We see people eating, putting on their makeup, all those things. They're not necessarily illegal, but they certainly don't give themselves the chance to stop their vehicle if something, the unexpected occurs. So we pretty much see it all, and it's unfortunate, but it's out there. Actually, there are a lot of different varieties of work zones. You can have a large highway, such as an I-10 project where you've got major interstate construction. It can be a state highway, but it can be a side street. It can be a landscape maintenance crew just in the median trying to clean things up and trim all the vegetation. It can be an accident where you have police officers on the side of the road with cones set up for ambulances, or maybe just their vehicles blocking a lane of traffic so that the paramedics can work. Those are all types of work zones, and the rules for those work zones are all the same. Statistic-wise, probably what's most alarming is in Arizona in 2006, which is the year of the most recent statistics, there were 31 fatalities in work zones in Arizona. So that's a 40% increase from the year before, which is a huge increase. And when you look at Arizona's the 7th highest state for fatalities in work zones. We're the 16th state when it comes population-wise. So we're definitely out of line with that statistics. Nationally, 1,010 fatalities in 2006. There were 1,068 the year before. So certainly a slight drop, which is good. But injury-wise, there's over 43,000 injuries a year in work zones. And what's interesting is that fatalities and injuries, the 84% of those is the traveling public themselves. You know, the workers have a huge amount of risk, but it's typically the vehicles themselves that get in trouble in the work zones, whether it's striking a piece of construction equipment or they're just going too fast and lose control of their vehicle because of the work zone. Those are the ones that are the majority that are suffering and being part of those statistics. You know, when it comes to the proper training and education, certainly when everybody receives their license, they go through that part and they understand what a construction warning sign means and what a speed limit sign means. So really, we do have the education. What we don't have is the understanding of what takes place on the other side of that sign and how just a very small thing can cause them to get in trouble. So when you're driving through a work zone and there's a piece of construction equipment moving alongside you and that construction equipment turns, you notice the turn, you may not be expecting for it. There's no necessarily training for that. But if you understand and are prepared to expect the unexpected in a work zone, we wouldn't have the issues that we have today. So really what we lack is just the understanding beyond what the signs and the regulations mean, but what goes on in a work zone and how your actions as a driver can affect the actions of other drivers and especially the workers in those work zones. Sometimes all that separates a worker from a vehicle is a plastic cone. And you think about that, you know, if you're the person on the other side of that cone, then you have a very good education of what it's like. But when you're surrounded by, you know, 3,000 pounds of steel, it's probably not a big deal to you. You know, there are a lot of things that you can do as a driver to help people in work zones. First and foremost, slow down. That's got to be the big thing. Eliminate your distractions though. Get off the cell phone, you know, pull over and eat lunch somewhere. Don't eat it while you're driving through. Be careful of tailgating, not giving yourself enough room between the vehicle in front of you. If something does happen, somebody has to stop short, you need to allow yourself that time. So all the general things that we talk about driving. April 7th through 13th is actually National Work Zone Awareness Week. And the one thing that Friends and Families of Roadway Workers does is we hold a press conference in a work zone. This year we'll be in Scottsdale on Indian Bend Road, just east of Scottsdale Road. And we'll be out there right in the work zone with Richard Finbrays, who's the Director of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, Victor Mendez, the Director of ADOT, Bob Hollis from Federal Highway Works, the Chief of Police from Scottsdale, you know, several dignitaries just to really bring that emphasis on people and what it takes to be in a work zone and understand what a worker goes through. Down in Tucson, we will have the National Memorial that is provided by the Arizona Traffic Safety Services Association, and everybody, not everyone, but people who have died in work zones are eligible to have their name on that memorial. And it's a sad thing, it's a great memorial, but it's a sad thing to see because nobody plans to be on that memorial. But we'll do a press conference in Tucson also, and that is on March 26th, and we'll be down in the Library Plaza. But really, we're just trying to remind the public, hey, when you're in a work zone, remember that you're there, slow down. You just may save a life, and the life may be yours.